Hi students, I'm coming to you from our classroom. It's a lot more interesting and fun when all of you are here with me, but I just ducked in to get a few things and record this video. I just want to talk to you a little bit about why organic synthesis is important to me and what the plan is for the class sort of moving forward. So why am I asking you to study organic synthesis? I really like organic synthesis for a couple of reasons. Number one, it ties in a whole lot of the work that we've been doing all year. So everything from free radical chain reaction to SN2 to MEA, all that stuff we did in the fall. In December when we talked about oxygen groups, esters and ethers and redox, to all of the new stuff we've been doing recently with benzene and Grignard and alkene oxidation. So I like the way that it sort of ties everything sort of together. It's a nice sort of summative moment where everything comes together. It also demonstrates the utility of organic synthesis, right? So how and why organic chemistry might be useful in the real world to make some of these molecules that are important in our everyday life. Now I know most of you are probably not going to go on and have a career in organic chemistry, and I totally get that. So I feel like organic synthesis, what I hope this unit does for all of you is really helps develop some important problem solving skills that all of you will be using basically in your everyday life, in college and in the real world when you get a job, maybe even in your personal life. So this type of structured and unstructured problem solving that will be so critical for your generation. This is a lot of deductive reasoning. So I've given you sort of the rules and parameters, and you're using that to figure out what's happening in each specific case. Cognitive flexibility and creativity are a couple of other buzzwords that are thrown around. Resilience and grit, the ability to continue to work on something and continue to try something that's challenging, even when you don't get it right the first time. Hopefully you're doing a little bit of collaboration with your peers and partners. And finally, just this idea of applying existing knowledge to new situations, right? And thinking about thinking, right? We call that metacognition. And so I hope that you are taking some of this time to realize that not only are you solving a synthetic pathway to produce a molecule in large yield, but also you're making some new pathways in your brain and helping to develop some skills that will be super useful regardless of what you plan to study in the future or what you plan to do with your life. So that's my goal, and that's why I've been asking you to take part in this organic synthesis unit. I want to tell you a little bit about our plan moving forward. The usual plan is to wrap up organic synthesis before spring break. And since our class has been moving a little bit more slowly, that's not going to happen this year. And I want to give everyone a chance to do a little bit more practice with organic synthesis. So if you are loving the organic synthesis, that's good news because we have a little bit more coming. And if you're like, actually I'm getting kind of done with that, the end is in sight, okay? So for those of you who are just ready to move on to something else, that's coming too. My tentative plan is we'll take this week, the last week before spring break, and really try to wrap things up as much as possible. We'll take a week off, no homework of course over spring break, and we'll come back that first week after spring break, which is a 4-day week for all of you, and really try to kind of wrap things up and finish up this unit. I've been thinking about what to do about a assessment to wrap this up. Typically we have a pretty large test, sometimes spread over a couple days, sometimes just during a block period where you are using all the reactions that you learned all year to solve these organic synthesis problems. Since we haven't had as much chance as I wanted to really work on these together as a group and for me to help you with this, I think I'm going to give you an option. So as you probably remember, there will be at least two graded assessments in every class. So one of our graded assessments for quarter 4 is going to be this end of unit organic synthesis grade. I think I'm going to give you 2 options. I think I will prepare an organic synthesis test. It will probably have something like 3 problems on it. The problems are not going to be the absolute hardest problems you have worked. They probably won't be the easiest problems that you have worked, but probably somewhere in the neighborhood of 5 to 7 steps, 5 to 8 steps, something like that. Maybe one that's a little easier, one that's a little bit more challenging, one that's kind of in the middle. So that would be one choice. I'm still thinking about exactly sort of what parameters make sense. It won't be completely open notes, but I'm willing to give you some, a little bit of either a note card or maybe a list of the reactions to sort of help jog your memory on that assessment, because I think that's fair. In real life, organic chemists have references. So one option for this graded assessment at the end of the unit will be a test. And I'm still thinking about the other one, but I like the idea of maybe asking you to demonstrate your knowledge of organic synthesis using something like a super graphic or an infographic, right? So think about all the things that you've learned about organic synthesis and be able to show me that or demonstrate your learning and your understanding on a super graphic, either one that you do by hands or one that you help, one that a computer sort of helps you put together. But I'm willing to be flexible on this, and that would be the other option for an end of the unit assessment. I'll do some more thinking about that, and I'll let you know for sure the parameters as soon as we come back from spring break. But I just wanted to give you sort of a heads up about what that looks like. So we're going to take this week and the week after spring break to wrap everything up, squeeze in a little assessment, and then we're going to start something new. I imagine we have time for a couple of more units. I like to do one on spectroscopy, which I think you'll find interesting, and I actually think will be not too challenging to do remotely. And also, we typically end up the year with food chemistry. So I'll do a little bit of thinking about what makes sense to do next, but we will, I think, have time for both of those things. So I don't know if you'll be ready to jump into a little food chemistry right after spring break, or if it makes sense to save that for May, when you're really, things are starting to drag and you're ready for a break. So I'll ponder that a little bit. I hope you are well. Send me an email or come by office hours if you want to chat. And I hope to see you electronically sometime soon. Take care.